Who are you? It's a simple question, really. We answer it every day with our names, with our titles, with our jobs. But imagine someone who doesn't care about your name, someone who passed through you, past your mask, past your titles, and sees a hollow space where your soul used to be. Let's deep dive into the incurable world of cure, shall we? I found myself thinking about a man wandering along a shoreline. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know the day. He only knows that single question. And every time he asks it, the person he asks, they change. They don't just answer him, they unravel. I felt that sensation before. The feeling that if someone looked at me long enough, they realize I'm just a collection of habits and borrowed thoughts. The film begins with a body in a cheap hotel, a woman. There's an X carved into her neck. A deep jagged isn't the wound, it's the killer. A man found hiding nearby who has no motive. When the police ask question, he doesn't act like a criminal. He acts like a man who has just woken up from a nap. He was an protagonist, Detective Takabe. Takabe is a man who thrives on logic. He believes in cause and effect. He believes that if there is a crime, more body begins to appear. A primary school teacher who kills his wife and jumps from a window. A doctor who kills a colleague in a hospital corridor. A beat cop who shoots his partner for no apparent reason. All of them shares the same mark, the X, carved into the throat. I noticed that X isn't just a mark, it's a cancellation. Think about what we do when we want to delete a word on a page. We cross it out. We make an X. It's the film's way of telling us that the person who lived behind those eyes has been deleted. Their kindness have been crossed out to make room for something else. Takabe's friend, the psychologist, Sakuma, tries to find a pattern. He looks for a cult. He looks for conspiracy. But the only pattern is a name that keeps surfacing, Miyama. We find Miyama on the beach. He's the man from the shore. He's young, barefoot, and seemingly hollow. When people talk to him, he enters their mind like a slow-moving tide. He claims to have no memory. He asks for the time, then he forgets it 5 seconds later. He asks for his location, then forgets it while still standing there. There's a chilling scene where the teacher takes him home. This is where the movie truly begins to bleed into our psyche. There is no reason to stay upstairs anymore. He asks the question, "Who are you?" until the only answer left is nothing. Now we must look at the detective, Takabe, the man who represents us, the viewers. He's the one supposed to be in control. His life is a series of controlled fires. At work, he deals with the ex-murders. At home, he deals with Fume, his wife. Fume's mind is a fading photograph. She suffers from a profound mental decline. She operates an empty laundry machine. The sound of the metal drum thudding through the house like a heartbeat. She gets lost in her own home. She forgets that she has already made a dinner. I feel a deep, heavy empathy for Takabe here. He is trying to hold up the ceiling mourning of a woman who is still sitting right in front of him. There's a scene on a bus where they sit together, but the world outside the window is just a moving clouds. It feels like they're suspended in a void. This domestic pressure is what makes Takabe vulnerable. He's exhausted by the burden of his wife. He loves her, but that love becomes his prison. Miyame sees this. Miyame doesn't just want to be caught, he wants to be understood by the only man who is strong enough to resist him. He begins to whisper to Takabe where to carve the X. The heart of the film is the interrogation room. Miyame and Takabe, two men, one table, one lighter. The lighting here is masterful. Miyame sits in a bright, elevated bathroom while Takabe remains in the shadow below. The power dynamic is shifting. Miyame tells Takabe that there is no cure for life, only for the lies we tell ourselves. He tells him that being normal is the real sickness. He says that the killers were actually being cured of their identities. I watched the detective losing grip during these moments. You can see it in his eyes. He's starting to realize that Miyame is right. Think about the psychologist, Sakuma. He's the most logical person in the film. He believes that he can study Miyame from a distance, but Miyama is just a mirror. If you want to look at him, you are really just looking at your own shadow. Sakuma begins to lose his mind. He draws an X on his own wall. He sees images of himself and he ends his life. The cure is spreading. It's not a secret anymore. It's a frequency. It's like a radio station. You is no longer a question. It's a command to dissolve. As we reach the end, we follow Takabe to an abandoned building. It's a sprawling, decaying structure that looks like a hospital for the soul. This is where Miyame has fled. The light filters through the dust in a long, sickly shafts. Takabe finds a phonograph. He hears the voice of a man from the 19th century. This is the origin. We learn that this transmission of violence has been happening for 100 years. Miyame is just the latest vessel. He is the priest of the void. Takabe shoots Miyame. He thinks he has ended the cycle. He thinks that by killing the messenger, he can stop the message. But as he listens, I watch the final moment of the film with a sense of total dread. We see Takabe later sitting in a restaurant. He looks clean. He looks calm. He looks for the first time in the entire film happy. He finishes his meal. He smiles at a waitress. And then we see her. The waitress picks up a knife. She walks towards the back of the restaurant. The film ends before she does anything. But we already know what happens next. The flame didn't go out when Miyame died. It just found a more stable place to burn. Takabe did not stop the killer. He became the master of the killers. This is the world of a man who realized that his memories are just a ghost and his morality is just a lie. This is the world of cure. I asked you who you are at the start. The movie tells us that we're nothing but the noise we used to fill the silence with. When the noise stops, the X remains. But silence can be deceptive. There are much more for us to see. There is much more for us to explore. Don't go back to sleep. You know where to find me.